Hello everyone and welcome. We are Ellie and Dan. We are a married couple based in the southwest of the UK, and over the past year we have been converting an old builder's van into a tiny home on wheels and named her EB. Working through the long cold winter nights and the hot sticky summer, we are almost complete. We have lived in some of the most remote places in the UK and have always had the travel bug, and we've been fortunate enough to have travelled to some incredible places. But now we are even more eager to take Evie and explore even more of this phenomenal world, making sure we enjoy every second, every minute and every day. We have some exciting things planned in the next years, so grab yourself a cuppa and join us as we continue to save our pennies, explore the places close to home and plan a trip of a lifetime in EB. Okay, so we're finally starting to get things in place for the diesel heater, because obviously it's getting so much colder now and it's the one thing we've been really worried about, but we've decided to bite the bullet and just go for it. Everybody keeps telling us to stop worrying, so we're trying to figure out where we're going to put it and stuff like that, and doing all the measurements for underneath so we don't hit something horrible. So we're doing that at the moment. We'll try and show you a little bit of what we're doing, but yeah, I'm really excited to be doing some more DIY on the van, and I've missed doing it, so yeah, let's go.
So it's another day, early morning. We need to get this diesel heater in today. It's been a bit of a pain. We've watched quite a few YouTube videos, so hopefully we can do it. But be all and end all, the diesel heater has to be in today. So as you can see, this is going to be our space to where the diesel heater can go inside of our cupboard. Last night, before the drill battery decided to run out, I started doing a little pilot hole. So that's one of the most important things to do, to make sure you are drilling in the right place. I'll show you the underneath of where we want it in a second. So this is what the bottom of the van looks like, and we're going to try to get the diesel heater in this gap in here. Hopefully in a minute you're going to see the pilot hole come out in here somewhere if we've measured it right. So as you can see, literally bang on smack in the middle of the under panel. So very happy with that. We just need to drill the big hole now, which I think is going to be the hardest part for us because we don't have a super powerful drill, but we'll give it a go. So after drilling 3 holes, we've decided we've got the best one, which is going to be this one over here. Luckily the actual hole saw is going to cover all of the holes, so you won't actually see them when we go through properly. So we are getting there very slowly with the hole for the diesel heater itself. As you can see, we're at a couple of different stages. So we went through the lino to start with, and then we went through the underwood. We've then accidentally hit a batten, so that's all of the cross members that we put down at the start of the van build. We shouldn't have really gone through that one, but it's very hard to know where they are. And this is kind of where we are at the moment. So you can see we've cut through all of those layers. Unfortunately, cutting through the batten has made the drill overheat and the batteries completely run out, so we have to wait for that. We are, as you can see, starting to see daylight through the bottom, so it's just going to be cutting out the metal now, although we need to let the drill recharge. So the next step we need to take is the actual diesel tank itself. As you can see, it's got a couple of smooth different areas on it, and there's a couple at the bottom as well, so that's where you can drill through. As you can hear, it's got a fitting kit in there, so we've now got to take the fitting kit out and use that. So we've got a couple of connectors. That one there is actually going to go inside of the tank and then come out, and then you've got a washer which is going to tighten it all up on the edge. What we've just done, we've just made a little hole in the bottom. That's where the pin's going to need to come back through. It's a 7mm hole, it fits just about, and we can get it in. The next problem is though, it doesn't need to be that way around, it needs to be the other way around, but inside of the tank. So it's going to have to go through there, all the way down the tank and coming out of there, so that's a problem we now need to solve. So the only sensible way I can think of to actually get this through is to feed the cable through the tank, make a little loop or knot in the end of that, and then be able to pull it through, so we'll give that a go. So now that's all on there and all connected. Hopefully, he says you should just be able to pull it back through. And it all worked, but we'll soon see. And there we go. I'll be able to get that to there. You should just be able to pull it through. It's going to be very tight though. Okay, so with a little bit of difficulty, there we go, we finally managed to get that out. It literally just has an O-ring and a washer that goes on the end, so we'll be able to screw that on and tighten it on nicely. So the next step, what we've got to do, we've got to connect the actual diesel tank itself, and we just need to put it somewhere in the storage cupboard. I think we're going to go far across to the left. We're going to have it a little bit up and actually off the ground itself. Obviously you need to allow the diesel to drip down and then do its thing with gravity, but the other problem is obviously going to actually be filling it up with space, but luckily we will be able to have a little connection through and actually take the cushions off, so we'll be able to fill up with a flexible pipe through the actual sofa area itself when the cushions are removed. So in the kit itself you get the green pipe that the diesel will run through. The first step is to actually connect it up to the fuel tank itself. You get these little butterfly clips. They are pretty shocking and useful unfortunately, but you need to obviously fit that on there. That will then go into the diesel filter and then onto the actual diesel pump itself. So there we go, that's a diesel filter fitted, which will go just there. And the next thing we need to do is actually fit the pump itself. So the pump itself, it comes with a little carrying case or sleeve that needs to go on there. That will obviously hold it away from the wood or where you're mounting it, and it won't allow it to knock against the wood so much. So the next step is to actually make all of the connections on the bottom of the diesel heater itself. None of these screws come connected, so unfortunately it's painstaking and you've got to screw every single one all the way down, which is really fiddly and time consuming, but eventually that'll be able to connect onto the turret plate itself. So this is the standard turret plate that the diesel heater comes with. It will do the job, but it's really fiddly to actually cut out the dimensions of the holes and everything along those lines. So what a lot of people do, and with ourselves, is easy just to cut out a big circle and have the dimensions and all of the holes inside. So we're using a third party turret plate. So one of the main problems with this turret plate though, I found these holes just aren't big enough for the screws provided. So what we're going to do, we're just going to drill them out with an 8mm drill piece, and then we'll be able to go from there. Okay, so that's the turret plate now connected by the 4 bolts to the diesel heater itself. you've got a couple of things. So you've got the air intake, which is nearest to the fuel line, and you've got the exhaust always being the furthest one away. So to cut the hole out, we're using a 127 hole saw. It's from Amazon. It's a nice and cheap one. I think it cost about £16, but it's done the job today.
Got 3 to the bottom. We now have a massive hole in the van. The thing we were worried about most. But we are now, well, I'm now going to paint with the Hammerite metal paint just around the outside, and make sure that's all rust proof, and then we'll go from there.
So what we've done to the rest of the turret, we've added the air inline and the exhaust. We've added the attachments to both the end, the exhaust and the silencer itself. Down here we've got the second hole. So that's where the fuel line's going to come off. It's going to go down through and then come back up into the bottom of the diesel heater itself. And that one's going to go on the fuel line, which is just going to go on that one there. So what we've done, we've feeded the fuel pipe back through. It then goes back up into the bottom of the diesel heater itself. We've then got the exhaust and the air. So we've got the air box there and we've got the exhaust. We need to obviously look to secure these up with either cable ties or something along those lines, but certainly something we can look to get sorted. The next couple of things we've got to do, we've actually got to secure the diesel heater down itself without it obviously looking to turn or do whatever that is. We've also got the electrics. There's 3 separate blocks for that. There's one what goes onto the fuel pump up here. There's one what goes onto the diesel heater itself, and then we've got to connect it all up to the 12 volt system we've got. So as mentioned, there's a few wire connectors are literally really simple. They push into each other. They're just push fit connectors. There's 3 of them. So there's one there. There's one there for the actual main unit part, and then there's one for the actual remote control itself. We are looking to change out this remote control to one of the LCD screens so we can get that sorted. But all of those literally push into each other, and then from there you've got a positive and a negative out feed to your battery. With everything connected up, we now finally have power on the control, so that's good news. Everything's wired up correctly. Just wait for Ellie to be back and fill up the diesel tank. So we've now got the fun job of actually trying to fill up the diesel and the diesel heater itself. But as you can see, Ellie's doing a good job of keeping it nice and steady. And hopefully it's filling up the tank with no leaks. So as you can see, we've got the diesel in there, hasn't leaked as of yet. So hopefully we're ready to actually try the diesel heater itself. We're not going to put it all in just yet. So with that sound, the pump is activated, and it's going to take an absolute age for all of the diesel to work its way all the way down and through the pipes and then into the heater. So we'll come back to that. We are watching a bit of Nomads on YouTube for helping us out with that. So yeah, thank you very much for that, because these instructions, in your own words, are absolutely bobbing. So I completely agree with you. Me and Ellie have been looking at them for quite a while, and we've been absolutely
Thank you.
yeah, properly confused by it. But no, thank you ever so much for that. You're a star. So we're now in that stage of waiting and hoping between. The diesel heater's now primed. We're just hoping it kind of turns on, and hopefully soon we're going to get a bit of smoke out of the exhaust, which is just down underneath where the door is now. But fingers crossed. You nervous, Ellie?
I hope there's no error codes.
So as I'm sure you can hear and see, it is definitely blowing out some fumes. Just don't know exactly what it's doing in here, but we'll get there with it. So one of the last problems we've got is where to actually attach the exhaust. Obviously it can't just be flapping around there, exactly the same with the air filter itself. So what we're going to do, quickly just drill up into the subframe just up here. We're just going to cable tie this up to it, and then hopefully it will all stay in place. So as you can see under the van, this is the real fiddly job. essentially securing all of the pipes, the inlet and the exhaust itself. Obviously you've got to have somewhere to kind of cable tie them to. Well, they do give you a mounting option, which is a plate you drill through, but that wasn't a great option for us. Couldn't really find anywhere to drill it. So what we've done, luckily there was kind of an existing panel we've cable tied the air intake to. The exhaust was a difficult one. I had to drill 2 holes in the actual subframe itself. But as you can see, we managed to get some cable ties through there, and the exhaust is on there nice and tight. And hopefully none of these are going to be going anywhere, but will still allow us to use the diesel heater. So it's now the next day. It got very dark very quickly last night. The diesel heater is now completely done. We're absolutely ecstatic about it. I can't believe we've actually managed to do one of the jobs that we were so worried about. It's really, really good, to be honest with you. The remote is a little bit suspect still, so we'll probably change it to one of the LCD screens. You can order one off of Amazon. It's about £13 or so. So we both reckon that's going to be a very good replacement. But aside from that, the only other things you've missed that we did last night, we have secured down the diesel heater with all of the screws. It's all in place, all of the systems back and running correctly. Absolutely buzzing that is all working. That brings us to the end of this week's video. It's been a bit of a different video from us, obviously being a bit more of a van build and actually going out and about exploring. It was one of those that we really needed to get done before winter's coming, and obviously we're looking to go away to Europe or actually tour the UK for a while. It's pretty cold in here, obviously it's just a metal box. So we have installation, but even with that, it is still freezing cold. So we're really happy that we've got a diesel heater now to keep us warm. So unfortunately, obviously with EB still being broken, we can't drive away and wave at the end of this week's video, which is becoming a bit of a tradition for us. So if you have liked this week's video, please like, comment and subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I'm sure you'll see us in the next one.